problems.
Well,
But other times,
as who says?
Wonder Woman, just being captioned here.
Go on.
So sometimes physical force can be used to solve some problems, but in other cases, all force results in its wreckage and a broken, twisted mess. Please help us provide a better way.
Okay.
Alright.
Is that a bad message?
Well, that sometimes physical force can be used to solve a problem and sometimes it just creates a mess.
Okay. No. Let's start with that one.
Well, if it's something mundane, like you've got to push the plug in, or you've got to
Force the turn of the screw.
Or yeah, so sometimes it's appropriate, and most of the time probably. Considering people's level and stage of understanding, it's a broken, twisted wreck, isn't it?
It is. I mean, you got some people who are very underdeveloped in terms of their character. They've not a lot of life experience, only what's happened to them, and it's very unusual for them to experience things outside of their norm. They have normalcy bias. That's their problem, most people. They want the normalcy. The things that they've given themselves, that's what they want. Deep down, they want it like that, because that's what they've created for themselves. But they just want someone to blame for why it's like that. As long as it's not themselves, as long as they don't have to take responsibility for anything, it's cool. You know, as long as they can have a vote and go, we're free of England. Right, let's have a big party. What? We've got to do stuff. Oh, no. Someone else can do that. We just wanted this fictitious, imaginary thing to go away. You know, because we're not responsible for it. Oh, no, we had nothing to do with it. No, because we was just born. And the English, they put it on us. Yeah. But hold on a minute. Are we at war? Really? Are we at peace?
Yeah, that's another
because
thing.
They're talking like we're at war.
The same relative of yours brought up how the Scottish have been divided through the history. Highland.
About how they feel about it. And is that shame or is that the pride?
That whole Orange movement, which is upsetting Northern Ireland every now and again, that sort of bigotry.
Yeah. Rubbing it in people's faces.
That was another Scottish movement because of their support for Bonnie Prince Charlie back in the day. And besides which, the one of them almost British colonial institutions, what was it, as an economic institution, what was it, the British East India Company, which was so instrumental in secondarily colonising, but certainly the whole market monopoly force and enforced market serfdom of different places around the world in terms of the British imperial power exercised through institutions like the British East India Company was also a Scottish company. So these people aren't in any way any more noble than anyone else. And the history is connected to this other little bit of land. The whole strip, though, as far as I can see, is in terms of that time zone, belongs to a set of people understood by God. It's the same with every time zone. We all fall into.
To me, it's like the Protestant Catholic thing all over again. You know, it's that same. You know, you call it England and Scotland, Protestant Catholic. It's, you know, they don't bring that type of foolish argument anymore. Just, you know, don't bring it. Don't talk about, well, my Muslim's so different to your Christian that, you know, mine's better, or anything, or my Christian's any better than your Muslim.
Pretty much at the same time as it rises over the people in London. Pretty much the same time as it rises in it.
Yeah, so splitting hairs over it, really.
People of Sierra Leone and Morocco. It rises pretty much at the same time.
If we allowed ourselves...
We all share our time in the sun, that is indisputable.
That's it.
Whereas the people in New Zealand now have seen morning a few hours in terms of how people count hours a few hours before the people in South Africa, who see their morning a few hours before the people in Brazil,
so
who see their morning a few hours before the people of, say, Alaska.
yeah,
It's just how it is. But everyone in that same time zone, pretty much.
everyone has their time in the sun. But here's the point I'm making.
Their place in the dance.
And that's one answer to the, you know, why are we not getting ours now? The other answer is, you know, since they didn't win the vote, what is the average Scotsman doing anyway with regards to setting up his own business? You know, and well, it does matter because they said they can just go into Europe. So big mouth, do it then. Yeah, because they're talking crap. They're talking crap. They're talking about what they want some next guy to do, which is not take responsibility. It's just baby talk for bullshit because we don't have any fucking answers. So let's blame somebody. Yeah, if they had fucking answers, one, they'd be standing on their own 2 feet.
Jules, until the truth's been unveiled, people would be best off just settling. Don't rush into any big thing. I'll get the truth and then do what you need to with the truth behind you.
But the truth is all of us don't know enough. And even if one person's got it, guess what? This is a world of many people. Start sharing your ideas. Start doing it in a way that we can all get it. Because, you know, looking at people like they're just not going to get it and all of that. No. I'm actually glad that, you know, nothing's happening. Because in a way, I think, out of all that's happened in the rest of the world, look at how we, the British, are dealing with it. I think it's a good example we're setting to the world where, you know, let's not get ahead of ourselves before we know. Just because there's a bunch of people who can throw things about and have a big mouth. Who cares? You know, it's not about that. That's why, you know, that kind of debate talk, it's not even debate, it's ignorance. It's just making a spectacle and making a big noise. Show me an actual solution that you could put into practice that's going to work, that's going to change people's lives, you know, and that we can just do. Because you don't need no government to tell you how to do that. It's the same as addressing a letter and putting a stamp on it and posting the thing. Get on with it. Because talking is not doing. Voting is not doing. It's the same like talking. They're not ready to do. Because doing requires understanding. Or overstanding. Or both. They're not ready. You know, they need to get out of the arrested development and the mythological, the myth of the myth, and find out what the true meaning of the myth is. You know? Some people don't realise they're stuck in a double matrix. They think they've come out of freedom, but really the freedom they've created is another matrix, and they need to fully free themselves. Or indeed recognise the purpose of the matrix. Which takes us back to the beginning, because what is the matrix? The matrix is control, but why? Why do we need control? Do we need control?
You need self-control.
Yeah, and then when the people lack self-control through not learning morals and ethics, through rejection of God, through rejection of traditional Christianity,
no, well, I don't know.
Through rejection of a form of religious teaching.
Of traditional Christianity isn't necessarily a rejection of God. It might be a way of finding your way back to God.
Well, the thing is, I wasn't alive in those times when he was teaching about God, or even asking those people what their God actually meant to them at that time, or whether they felt deceived by it.
Sometimes it meant the difference between life and death on a very physical plane and a very
right. I'm sure that the God of the wild frontier is different to the God of the Victorian street.
A very painful death, a very public death,
a
very shameful death at the hands of people who were preaching something different than they actually practiced.
Yeah, well, it's the same as saying that, you know, in Exodus 21 they said a woman can be a slave or a servant depending on which book you read, and you know that starts a whole new set of debates in people that, and yeah, so from that point of view, people say I don't want to know about the Bible because you're asking the kind of questions I don't give a shit about, you know. because it doesn't make sense to me. I just know the difference between right and wrong, and that's it. That's all I'm interested in. I say, good on you, mate. Because as long as our rights and wrongs are in agreement, in alignment, nobody's going to have a problem with you just seeing it your way. The problem is when you've got absolutely no moral boundaries whatsoever. How do you get to that? How do you show people why morals and ethics are a good thing to have? How do you show them that? Well, some people used Superman. They used a fictional story, and they wrote a book to teach people. Some people say, well, that book actually, it doesn't teach people, it unteaches people. It makes slaves out of people. Does it? Did it make a slave out of me? And yet some would disagree. In many ways, I feel freed and rejuvenated by it, but that's my personal thing. I don't expect anybody else to take it on board like that. But I welcome when I meet others that agree with my set of principles. Whether they're a Muslim, whether they're a Catholic, whether they're a Christian, whether they're a non-believer of anything, or believer in enlightenment or whatever form, I respect that. But I'm not about to preach my mumbo jumbo to anybody. I'm just going to use what my reference is as a frame of reference to teach the metaphor, to teach the parable. Yeah. If someone taught it through a Muslim passage, so be it. If I get what I get from it, so be it. That is also valuable to me. The point is, rather than being ignorant about other people's cultures, we should maybe try to learn more about them and grow our own understanding. Yeah, dogma, man. Racism. All these things that exist in people in secret numbers, in secret ways. The secret shame that is being revealed and nobody wants to have revealed but must be revealed morally and ethically. It shines brighter than the sun. It shines out of people. It reflects in all aspects of our society. In our culture, in our art, everything that we're saying is important or has been created or thought about, and time was put into that. It's all relevant, it's all important. People doing their jobs, as much as people might put them down, you should feel proud you're doing that as well. People that just work a job and might think that they're not worthy of anything because that job, to some, isn't the most important job in the world. The arrogance that people have trying to decide what others are doing and saying that's right or that's wrong. Just fixate on yourself, because in doing that you can guarantee the results.
It's not the job, it's what you do whilst you're working.
I'm talking about looking at others, because the only way that we could say any job is bad is if we're comparing it with what someone else is doing.
I'll just ask if it's the right job for you. Are you doing it with the right intention?
Well, all of that I've said is the job of the individual. Our culture of
I'm not going to start saying what jobs are morally right.
No, I'm saying we've got a version of the Muslim shame rule. The Muslim shame rule is what will mother think, what will my dad think, what will my brother think, what will my neighbours think.
Rather than what do I think?
People don't identify that as being a Christian behaviour, but clearly it is. Clearly it's an ingrained human behaviour. Or where did it come from if it's not in Christian teachings or to be found in the Bible?
What?
This public shaming, or this fear of the public shame. Open rebuke is better than secret love, it says in the Bible, but people don't want to be openly rebuked and publicly shamed. They would rather their secret be dealt with in secret.
Open
That's
rebuke
is better than secret love.
Let's have a look.
Like admonishing your brother or your sister for the benefit of everybody is better than just putting up with it just because they're your brother and your sister. You've got a duty to stop them doing that. It's Samaritan's law. You know, if you can see that something's going to happen and you've got the foresight, then you've got a duty to prevent that, really. But you've got to do it with full, vision. It's not easy to make decisions like that. Those kind of decisions are really reserved for, like life and death. Or someone's in the street and they're going to get run over, so you saved their life.
Proverbs 27:5.
Open rebuke is better than secret love. Why? Because it allows them to change the things that are problems about their character, which manifest as a reality for themselves and for others.
Is it better than secret love?
Why is it better than secret love?
Yeah.
Well, for what I just said, it allows them in their lifetime to make changes to their character, because they can't undo the past. All the past is there afterwards, is to learn from. You must accept, just like you must accept the words in the Bible are what is written. It's not what you want it to be, it's what's written. And accepting is a gift from God, because then you'll get further in life. You've accepted that book exists and it's been written, and those are the words that's in it. Whether you understand it is an entirely different matter. You can't understand it in a day. It takes a lifetime. And really, what are you trying to understand? The book or yourself?
Myself.
Therefore, the book is just, I suppose, like a medium, a way of accessing the part of your brain that allows you to think those deep thoughts. Just like some people will take LSD or mushrooms to have that type of experience. It's a way of elevating the mental condition. It's a meditation. But if you use it as anything else, like the people try to do, like this battering ram, well, that's not very meditating, is it? But I do understand some people's rejection of it, because it does judge, it does divide, it does ask profound questions, makes people question themselves. Is that a good thing?
The person also has to divide as with a sword.
Well, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, don't you?
You just need the safety of an environment to take time to find yourself in God.
Have you ever looked at the symbol of justice that's used in the courts? They've got a woman blindfolded, and in one hand she's got a sword and a set of scales. Now, why is she blindfolded? Because what you see, right, isn't necessarily always the truth. What you see. When you're judging things like words are like the imagination. Words are concepts. Concepts are like virtues. Virtues are eternal. You're judging the rights and the wrongs. That's what the scales represent. You're judging the heart. Ultimately, it's a symbolism taken from the Bible. You're judging the heart on whether it's morally right or wrong to do it. And if on the scale you've got how your heart felt, or what was the right action versus what occurred and what was done to try and remedy it, then you've got the scales almost of God's judgment as well, because things happen in life, and things happen sometimes by accident, sometimes things happen on purpose, and those are all factors. And on the other hand, you've got the sword that delivers that justice. If people call the sword justice, the non-use of the sword is also justice. They have to recognise that. It's not just about having the sword, because the sword represents the power to, I suppose, take a life. So that's the ultimate level that they're taking it to. Now, why does it have to be taken to that level, which is Old Testament think, take a life? Because depending on severity of what has occurred, and depending on the character of the individual involved, the law is for children. And depending on your childish behaviour, how you behave, how you perceive yourself, whether you show remorse for things that you've done. It's all taken into account. Well, what's that modelled on?
What?
That, what I just said there, looking at remorse and looking at things like that, what is that modelled on? Because people's expectation of the court these days, with some people, because they're going in with a loser's attitude and they lose, and then they're propagating like a case of, well, oh, if you go there, you're going to lose. So in their imagination, they're scared of going to court because they think already they're going to lose and the court's against them. So what have they done? They've created an imaginary Goliath, an imaginary enemy, and they're going in there to slay the enemy rather than realise, hold on, the only enemies these days are the ones we imagine. The only monsters are the ones we imagine. This dude might be an alright dude. He might or might not be part of the problem. Until I talk to him face to face and get to know this person, it's going to be difficult to really say for certain. People have a hard time getting rid of their own egos and being fair-minded. If you're not fair-minded, how can you think that you're really representing the things that people want? You know, there's a lot of tough talkers, but you know, you can't walk the walk. They just seem to want to cause friction and separation, and by no means is that the solution. The solution is unity. We're all here, and I don't see anybody volunteering to start removing people off the planet like they have authority, or volunteering themselves to be the first to leave. Those are not options on my table as far as I'm concerned. Those are the options of lunatics and morons and brain dead people. Yeah, and people who are simply too dumb to fathom other solutions. They're just, you know, oh, I want it my way. Right, well, I'm going to have a tantrum. I'm going to smash up the room. I'm going to smash up the world. Like, that's a solution. Pathetic. They've not even tried all options yet. They gave up at the first obstacle. Thought, oh, it's hard. Give up. I couldn't pass my exam the first time. So you know what? It's not worth trying to ever do any exams, ever. It's not worth it. I think exams are actually a load of rubbish. You know, they're not about anything because I get bad results. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, they mean nothing. They're just not able to take this information the way others are and sculpt it the way a sculptor would sculpt clay and create the universe they want to see. Waiting for others to do it. I ain't waiting for nobody now. I'm just doing. And they better get used to doing it. Yeah. I ain't got time to wait.
Oh, speaking of time.
Yeah, it's getting to that time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty much that time, isn't it?
It's been good, man.
Myself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring forth.
Be grateful for today.
Let another man praise thee, and not thine own mouth.
There you go.
And not thine own lips.
Yep.
The stone is heavy, and the sand weighty, but a fool's wrath is heavier than them both. Wrath is cruel, and anger is outrageous, but who is able to stand before envy? Open rebuke is better than secret love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. The full soul loatheth an honeycomb, but to the hungry soul every bitter thing is sweet.
Mm-hmm.
As a bird that wandereth from her nest, so a man that wandereth from his place. As a bird that wandereth from her nest, so is a man that wandereth from his place.
Mm-hmm. All of these, each little sentence is a profound.
A man has to learn his place.
Well, yeah, where home is where the heart is.
There's
Charity begins at home, mate.
There's a place for everyone under the sun.
Charity begins at home, and many people are very uncharitable to themselves because they're just so used to blaming somebody else for the state of the world. It's easy to do that. It's easy to go, you know what, my wife, I'm still a good husband, and don't blame me, let's all blame the government. Oh, really? Okay. So are you by saying that, and if we all just suddenly recognise that's the world sorted, is it? If they just disappeared off the face of the earth, it's the world sorted, is it? Who's gonna do what? How is what gonna happen? How are you gonna get the modern world, the way things are? I'm telling you, people need to grow up and accept personal responsibility for everything. Right? Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, you are.
Am I?
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, how can others tell you about you being a great man?
Am I not my own keeper?
That too.
Am I your?
But you're also my keeper.
Am I your captain?
Samaritan's law, mate.
Am I your captain? Aren't you your own captain?
I am. But if you see the danger, and if the watchman seeth the danger and warneth not the people, the burden falls on his shoulders. It's as simple as that. So, there is a duty. And, it's maturity that shows us these things. It's experience that gives us wisdom to avoid the pitfalls of life. Many people need to have the captain steering the ship away from the rocks because he knows the route. He's been there many times. The captain is God. You learn from him and you can become your own sailor and sail the seven seas of life. Yeah, and you'll be meeting all the myths and all the Argonauts. They're all there to learn from. You're going to be fighting all of them. Nothing new under the sun.
To get the golden fleece.
Mm-hmm. And beyond. That's where you start going into beyond the notions of good and evil. But only when you're ready. You have to be, accepting who you are as a soul and where you're going to go.
Well, the golden
and where you are
is like the Lamb of God, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Which you wrap around yourself, and you are.
Yeah, it brings the riches. You know a tree by its fruit.
The finding of Messiahdom in all of that.
They need to become a goodly tree that will yield